No.
You've never seen this person before now?
I've never seen that name in my life.
Would you say that this list is racist?
There might be some subtle racism.
So, here's something that almost never happens in the streaming world. A guy who has been doing this for over 20 years sits down, gets handed a list of every single relevant creator alive right now, and just says exactly what he thinks. No PR filter, no management whispering in his ear, no sitting there calculating what the response is going to look like before he even opens his mouth.
Do you really fucking think I put Malaya on here, you piece of shit? And he famously said,
if you wasn't invited, don't ask
I
to go.
don't know who that is. F tier.
What?
I don't know who that is.
You
Duke Dennis? Duke Dennis?
You don't know who this is?
No.
You've never seen this person before now?
I've never seen that name in my life.
Would you
Pop in a tier list and 20 years of genuinely not needing anyone's approval sitting right behind every single placement he made. And the internet absolutely lost its mind over it.
Here we go again.
Look at that setup. Look at it. That right there is a man who genuinely, completely does not care where the camera is or who is watching. He has been doing this since before most of his current viewers were old enough to even have a phone. The people who built Twitch alongside him have been canceled, burned out, left the platform entirely, changed beyond recognition, or in one case, are no longer here at all. And Chance is still sitting in front of a camera in 2026, still saying things that get clipped and argued about by people who were not even alive when he started. That alone is the most important thing to understand before any of the tier list conversation even begins. Because this is not a guy who made a controversial video to go viral. We're talking about someone who made a controversial video because going viral stopped being a motivation for him somewhere around 2015. Now, the tier list itself started with a premise that NMPLoL, the creator sitting next to Soda for the whole video, set up knowing exactly what was about to happen. He handed Soda a list of every relevant streamer and told him to rate them based purely on his personal opinion. No filter, no politics, no diplomatic softening, just whatever Soda actually thought, and Soda agreed to those terms immediately, without hesitation. The thing that happened over the next hour wasn't just a standard tier list. It felt more like an accidental documentary on what 20 years of pure internet consumption does to a person's taste, patience, and willingness to tolerate bad content.
Leave your phone and or name and number in the comments and how much you love it.
And he's gonna give his opinion on everybody, unfiltered, because he doesn't need them to be successful.
No, I do not.
Okay.
I love it.
So we're gonna start.
5 minutes later.
He told everyone exactly what the methodology was going to be from the very first minute. He said, if he had not watched you, you were going in F tier. That was the system. Simple, clean, brutal, and then he executed it with a consistency that was almost admirable. The very first person up was Grayson, who Soda had never watched, F tier. But not before describing his content as something that assaults viewers with terrible audio while the text-to-speech donations run louder than his own voice at 5 cents a pop. That detail alone tells you everything about how Soda's brain actually processes content. He is not evaluating the human. He is not thinking about their journey or their numbers or their cultural impact. Then things started getting interesting. Agent Zero got F tier because the only context Soda had for him was seeing his face next to Extra Emily somewhere online. Extra Emily herself got a tier, not because of anything she had done on stream, because Soda wanted to specifically irritate the viewbotting accusations against her, and that motivation alone was more entertaining to him than any content she had ever produced. That is the kind of decision that only makes sense when you have been doing this long enough to find the metagame more interesting than the actual game itself. Rakai got F tier instantly, and Soda admitted he had seen some things, did not elaborate, did not need to. F tier stayed, and then
I like Shroud, because here and he's in the same segment as me. We're both boring as fuck now, but
Really?
we both do what we actually like. Now he got that Mixer deal, and he got I don't even fucking know, millions. That pissed me off because he took that Mixer deal.
Yep.
And then Mixer shut down, and he got to keep the money and come back to Twitch. Out of sheer bitterness and jealousy, I'm gonna put his ass in F tier. But but if I were to rate him outside of that, I'd give him a solid A tier because I really like Shroud.
Said it himself out loud on camera with zero hesitation. Said if you removed the bitterness, Shroud would comfortably be a solid A. The bitterness stayed, Shroud stayed in F. And the reason that moment works is because Soda did not dress it up at all. He did not pretend it was about content quality or streaming consistency or some analytical framework he had built up over time. He just said, I am bitter that he got to keep the Mixer money, walk back into Twitch like nothing happened, and rebuild his audience without consequence. And that feeling is worth an F tier. That level of raw honesty from someone of his size, genuinely rare, Most people at that level have spent years learning to package their opinions to soften them to make them palatable. Soda either never learned that skill, or actively decided not to. Northern Lion got S tier. Before Soda remembered he was too lazy to stand up and actually check who it was. Then got moved to A tier because he was also bald. The bald penalty cost him S tier. Moon got pushed into C tier not because his content is bad, but because he would not stop playing Hitman for months and Soda was completely exhausted from seeing it. Moon in a Yoda mask, doing Hitman missions over and over and over. That was the determining factor. For a man who has consumed more hours of live content than most people have spent awake in their entire lives.
It's Moon.
It is.
I saw it. I could see the baldness. We'll put him up there with A tier next to... Actually, I'm so tired of him playing Hitman. So out of sheer pettiness of him needing to play something else, finally, I'm going to put his ass next to Lakari. Give me that. Bald with bald. Black and white. Bang. It's Oreos in the seas.
So okay, because you're tired of... What about Moon's here?
He's playing Hitman and he won't fucking stop. I'm tired of it. He's played it for months now. Do something else.
So you're going to judge his entire content based on a few months of his life?
Yeah. Not even, yeah, well, he shouldn't be months. He's been playing this. Feels like it. Stupid ass Yoda mask running around.
Got it. Okay, up next.
Lackery got C tier because Soda had opened his stream at least once and caught him feeding in League of Legends. That one glimpse, that single moment of watching him in a game was enough to keep him just barely out of pure F tier. Sukuna got F tier, and the only content that had registered from him at all was the cheating situation. That was it. That was the entire body of work that existed in Soda's head when Sukuno's name came up. Pokimane went from B tier to C tier mid-segment because Soda suddenly remembered she joined OnlyFans and then quit immediately. That specific sequence of events bothered him enough to drop her one full tier on the spot.
You mean?
Oh. I don't think I've ever watched Pokimane before. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched a whole lot of Pokimane. However, I do get mad at how a lot of the hate she gets, I think, is just straight up incel.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some justification there, but I look at it and I can tell it's
so when she told
sheer
people
incel.
That if you're a broke boy, just say so. How'd you feel about that comment?
I'd say that, dude, I literally had a discount code called poor.
Yeah.
But I don't think she was trying to be funny. Maybe she was, I don't know. Every now and then maybe it's a little performative here and there, but Pokimane's good in my book. And just to piss off incels, we'll put her in B tier. That'll fucking be.
Oh my God.
It's always been nice to me.
Chat, do we want to clear the board and start over, or do we want to leave it here?
I forgot. She fucking joined OnlyFans and quit instantly.
Oh.
C tier.
Okay.
That pissed me off.
He put Trainwreck's gambling streams in a tier, put a Rob scooping a bathtub in A tier, but people who have genuinely shaped the entire culture of streaming in F tier because he had simply never personally clicked their channel. That is not a tier list, that is a diary with a spreadsheet attached to it, and somehow, that makes it more watchable than any objective ranking ever could be. But then, the tone of the entire video changed, because after all the F tiers, and the bald penalties, and the mixer bitterness, and the bathtub moments, Reckful's name came up, and everything stopped. S tier, without hesitating, said he had to, said the tea times were some of the best content he had ever watched in his entire career. Said he was genuinely, personally jealous of the ability to just sit down and talk to people like that. And then the video moved on, but the weight of that moment did not move on with it, because everyone watching knows why Reckful is being discussed in the past tense, and the casualness of the entire tier list. All the petness and the jokes and the bald penalties and the mixer bitterness colliding with that one S tier showed something about Soda that none of the F tiers could hide. He actually cares deeply about this world he has spent 20 years inside of. He just shows it sideways. He shows it in bathtub stories and gambling streams and bitter jokes about mixer money. And then occasionally, he shows it directly, and when he does, it lands harder than anything else in the video. Kai Cenat ended up in C tier, and this placement generated more conversation than almost anything else on the entire board. Because Soda acknowledged that Kai has done a lot, he said it directly out loud, but the segments he had actually caught were mostly Kai asleep during subathons. And when he was awake, it felt like bring a famous guest on, generate a viral clip, and repeat the exact same cycle again. Chance pointed out that he does the same format except with people who are not famous. Soda said, "That means he is doing worse." That exchange right there was one of the most genuinely honest moments in the whole video. And then Stable Ronaldo found out about his placement, and his reaction is actually the other half of this entire story, because Ronaldo did not explode, he did not make it personal, he did not go on a 15-minute rant about respect and recognition. He just said what everyone watching was already quietly thinking. He pointed out that Lackery, a man with a documented past involving material on his computer that has absolutely no defense, was sitting in B tier above people like Kai Cenat, who has genuinely changed what live streaming can be for an entire generation of creators. He asked what his own rank was told F tier, responded by pointing out that Soda was apparently fighting him on Twitter, without
Is
even
it,
knowing who he
BB No
was,
Money?
then
Who
moved
is
on.
this?
Does anybody give a about these two dudes? I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, this is just like, I see Lakari at B tier. Isn't this guy like a straight up weirdo creep? Like, there's a little bit of truth in this, them saying this, and a cover up is pretending to be sarcastic when they deep down think about it. You can call me crazy. I'm just being honest with you. I just feel like it's like a loophole, because if I react to it and say something, then they're like, oh, we were being sarcastic. But then if I react to it and they really mean it, it's like, oh, why you there's like, it's like a
Not an opinion. This is a fact. He's 1 and 2.
Okay. Kai Cenat.
Kai Cenat.
Yeah, you know, you're not wrong. He's done a lot.
Have you watched any of
However,
his streams though?
Listen, in my opinion, I got last I watched his subathon. He was asleep most of the time, it felt like. Then again, I usually open stream at night, makes sense. And then it just seemed like bring guest on who's famous, rinse and repeat.
That's kind of what I do. I bring guests on who's not famous to rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot worse.
Yeah, but I feel like his was more cringe.
So you think his more cringe than what we're doing now?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's hard to do because this is pretty cringe.
Well, this is cringe, but you're also, so I'd put C tier as well. So C
Okay.
tier.
All right.
Put him in
next,
C.
next to Kid.
The point Ronaldo was making underneath all of it is actually worth sitting with for a second, because the Lackery placement is the one moment in the tier list where the irate, based on what I have personally watched, methodology runs directly into something uncomfortable. You can defend F tier for people you have not seen. That is just honesty about your own viewing habits, but B tier for someone with Lackery's history, while simultaneously being completely unaware of creators who have built massive, genuine communities from nothing. That is a different kind of conversation entirely, and Ronaldo was not wrong to point it out. NMPLoL made a similar observation in his own commentary video. He said Soda is stuck in a filter built during an era when streaming meant sitting in a chair and playing a game. And anything that deviates from that model either bores him or simply does not register at all. And there is real truth in that. But the part NMPLoL did not fully address is that Soda told everyone what the filter was from minute 1. He announced the methodology out loud. He said F tier for people he had not watched, and then did exactly that. Nobody was deceived about how any of this worked. Stories like this show exactly why the longest running people in this space are always the most interesting to break down. If you want more of this, subscribe right now so you do not miss the next one. But what do you actually think? Was Soda completely out of line for ranking people he had never even watched? Or is that honestly the most authentic version of a tier list that has ever existed? Drop it in the comments below.